Hey everybody, this is John, and welcome to the free video, and let's dive in here and take a look. One of my favorite stocks here to the long side has been NVIDIA, and this is one where we've been waiting for a pullback to get long. We gapped down today, got as low as 238.41, and then we did pick up some longs. And so the question is, well, first of all, let's look at kind of what caused us to get in here. And so that was very simple, and that was here's that opening 10-minute bar. You let all this kind of, fester, and then once you break through this, go long. So it went long, looked good for a little bit, stop at the lows of the day, came down here, and this was kind of a make or break level, and it did hold. And if we look at the Nasdaq futures during this time, you can see that the Nasdaq futures actually almost retested the lows, but NVIDIA was able to hold. So it ended up holding that overnight, and then we'll see where the Nasdaq ends up. At this point, we are going up a little bit after hours. That does not necessarily mean that things will be well for tomorrow. But a big thing for this market right now is Apple. And Apple at this point, if it can bottom out from here, and if we go over here and we look at a daily chart, you can see it's like, man, this thing has really been hammered, and you can see it. We actually broke through here on high volume, so it's kind of a good stop loss run. At this point, even if we get a retracement, looking for kind of a retracement back up to the 50, and from here, we either rally higher or roll over and die, but it's a high probability here that we actually do get a retracement. That would obviously boost the markets, yada, yada, yada. So as we head into tomorrow, one of the most important things that I'm going to be watching, so one of the biggest things I'm going to be watching tomorrow is the cumulative tick. All right, so how does that work? So overall, you can see here that this shows the tick for the S&P 500, the Russell, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously when they're all in alignment here, boom, that's a pretty strong market. And then when you get a situation where it's a little bit more on the flat side, okay, it's very, very tricky for the markets to get their act together. So for tomorrow, what I'm going to be watching and just saying like, okay, if we are able to have a cumulative tick that's kind of gathering steam throughout the day, look for the markets to hold. But if it does go negative, all right, if it does go, if it drops. So the ticks for today, and the reason I was okay buying the dip today is that you can see the tick started off low and then kind of went high. So the markets kind of blew their selling wad at the open. So you boom, and then from there just kind of trading sideways. Versus if you look at, let's see here. Okay, open low, like right here. So when you get a situation like this, okay, and the ticks start out high and then are dragging low, you got a little bit trickier situation. Ultimately, the market did kind of come back there. But what I like on stuff like this is just the patterns that you can see. And here I'll switch this to UVX. So for tomorrow, if we're going to see more of an update, you can see here, like on January 3rd, the VIX gap down. You had most of the time, throughout the entire day, the ticks are spending, all their time above zero with some spikes above 600. That's how you get kind of a steady uptrend, all right? And that's the only way we're going to get an uptrend tomorrow. It's the last day of the month, so you could actually have some pretty, interesting potential things happening in terms of, asset reallocation and stuff like that. So the markets could go either way, but what I'm going to be looking at is not the news, but what the internals are doing in the morning, and they're going to tell us everything that we need to know. And a quick note, a lot of the internals I've been talking about are also futures related. Now, if you've never traded futures, like the S&Ps, E-minis, or the Nasdaq futures, I like to trade them during the day. They're great hedging. But even if you don't trade them, if you just know how they work and how the internals impact them, it'll impact all your trades. It's like, oh my gosh, the internals are going to make the futures go down, so guess what? My stock's going to go down. So if you're interested in stuff, Raghi and the futures team are holding a free open house for the live trading room, the futures room, And it started today on Monday, and it's going to go through Wednesday, January 31st. So if you'd like to check it out, again, no obligation. You just sign up for free, and you can just kind of watch over their shoulder as they're analyzing and trading the futures markets live, various commodities markets. You just sign up there. Okay? Simplertrading.com/live. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you at the next update.